Winnipeg Jets will start with Howardchuk between McLean and Mullen. For the Edmonton Oilers, it's Messier, flanked by Anderson and Nielsen. The fans at Northlands Coliseum responding. A loud roar as the puck is dropped to get the game underway as it's fired in. The whistle goes and they'll face off back just outside the Edmonton blue line. Harry, Glenn Sather today was encouraging Edmonton fans to make some noise in the building, stressing the importance of a crowd responding to the hometown heroes.
Well, he must have seen those Winnipeg fans get wired for the game. It certainly does help. And you have to win your home games if you're going to be successful, and hometown fans can be worth a goal. That's what some coaches tell you.
Kevin Lowe behind his own net. Craig Muni up along the boards. Kent Nielsen. He goes rink wide to Glenn Anderson. This trio is dynamite in the series against the Los Angeles Kings. Anderson with that great speed, getting it out front. It comes to the line to Muni. Muni to Kent Nielsen. His shot off the side of the net. Dave Ellick ahead to Brian Mullen. He tried to get it out. Craig Muni kept it in. And it's back to the Winnipeg goal where Brad Barry takes a big hit against the boards from Mark Messier. Messier to Nielsen. Shot saved by Berthiaume. The early going, Harry. This line has been all over Winnipeg.
Well, this is a very strong line. They're quick, and Messier, of course, is really physical as he just about killed Barry there. And that may be the matchup that Sather's looking for. We'll see soon whether Maloney tries to avoid it.
Kevin Lowe back into his own zone. He was the leading defenseman in the plus-minus category this year. Dave Hunter in across the line, stopped at the line by Mario Marois. Paul Coffey dishes out a check to Neufeld. Here comes Boschman, 2-on-1, he scores!
Now there's absolutely nothing better for Winnipeg to come in here and get a quick goal. They've been on a roll, as we all know, beating Calgary. Coffey got caught throwing a check to give the 2-on-1. Now watch Boschman. He takes a quick look like he's going to pass it, then he shoots it. And he gets Fuhrer to open up just a bit, and he puts it in. Here's another viewpoint now. I think Boschman wants to pass. He changes his mind, and you can see Fuhrer guessed a bit and guessed wrong.
Neufeld draws an assist on that goal. He took the hit from Paul Coffey at the blue line. And as you said, Harry, Coffey got trapped as a result.
Well, I know Coffey's trying to get into the game and get involved because he hasn't played very much in the playoffs, but he pinched at the wrong time.
So the Winnipeg Jets, Boschman from Neufeld at 120 in front by a score of 1-0. Craig McTavish forced back into his own zone, gets it ahead to Hunter. Hunter to McClellan, the long shot, knocked down at the line by Carlisle. Back comes Winnipeg, led by Neufeld, working against Huddy. He crosses at the blue line with Rooney going for the net. Neufeld gets it out in front. McTavish cleared it away. The Winnipeg Jets with the first goal of this series. Laurie Boschman scoring. And now Randy Carlisle dumps it in. Picked up by Reijo Ruotsalainen. To Randy Gregg, a long pass intercepted in the center ice area by Smale and dumped back in. The Jet theory, I believe, is that they have to forecheck the Oilers. Here's Steen with a shot. It's blocked by Gregg, and back comes Gretzky. Gretzky drops it in across the line for Yari Curry, intercepted by Doug Smale. For Jim Kite. Kite to Thomas Steen. Across the Edmonton line, checked by Gretzky. Gretzky ahead to Curry. He has Tikkanen with him, looking for Ruotsalainen as well, and the pass was too far, broken up by the Jets and dumped back down the ice.
There's no question about the fact that Winnipeg's quickness will be a factor in this series. It's good when they forecheck, and they're a dangerous team on the rush.
Randy Gregg to Curry, played it back to him. He was tied up, and Paul McLean had decked Tikkanen. There's going to be a penalty here, a delayed penalty call against the Winnipeg Jets. Paul McLean going off. The Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC, coming to you from Edmonton.
Nothing you can say can tear me away from my guy, my guy. Nothing you can do, 'cause I'm stuck like glue to my guy, my guy, my guy. I'm sticking to my guy like a stamp to the letter. The birds of a feather do stick together.
Molson Canadian, taste that'll stop you cold.
My guy.
Paul McLean gets a holding penalty at the 3-minute mark. and the Edmonton power play, which was really potent here in the Northlands Coliseum against LA, where they had 8 goals in 16 attempts, have a chance to tie the game up, but that Winnipeg penalty killing has been great all year.
Well, against Winnipeg during the course of the season, the Oilers scored only 4 goals on 34 power play opportunities, 11.8% their efficiency rating on the power play.
Well, their power play hasn't been nearly as good as you would think it would when you see the 5 guys they can put out there, and they've got another unit that's just about as good as this one. But I think they pass too much and don't get enough goals that are not so pretty, but they all count.
Wilson and Doug Smale out there for Winnipeg, killing off this penalty. Messier leads the attack. He dumps it in. Driving in after it is Anderson. He's checked by Kite. Puck loose in the corner. Messier battling for it. It comes around the boards. Coffey pinching in from the point. Keeps it in for Gretzky. Gretzky tried to play it back to the line. Intercepted by Smale and dumped the length of the ice.
Well, Edmonton like to get the line, get the puck to Gretzky, and let him set the whole thing up. They have excellent point men as far as shots are concerned, but they don't like to shoot as much as I know Sather would like them to.
Messier working to the corner. Anderson going for the front of the net. Messier still controlling it despite the checking. Dave Allen head out front as it went across to Anderson. Nobody in possession. Now along the boards, the Jets get it to the line, and Andrew McBain dumps it out.
Well, Winnipeg attacks the puck. You know, the old days you used to sit back in the box, but no more in the National League, and the better penalty-killing teams go right after the puck carrier and gamble. If you don't give them any time, you can't make the play once to make.
Paul Coffey with that great head of steam as he comes in across the line. Gretzky picks it up in the corner, back of the net. 38 seconds remaining in the penalty to Paul McLean, to the line to Randy Gray. Over to the other point. Fired in and gloved and held by Daniel Berthiaume.
You can see what Edmonton does here. They leave Gretzky on for the whole 2 minutes, and they alternate his line mates. He has Curry and Tikkanen, or he has Messier and Anderson. And then Edmonton changes their point men. They have Coffey out there with Kent Nielsen quite often, or they bring out Ruotsalainen and play Greg a little bit. So they've got 2 powerful units. They ought to have an excellent power play, but except for the home games against LA, it hasn't been as awesome as you'd think it would be.
Fellow you coached in Vancouver, having an outstanding year for Winnipeg.
Mario Marois playing all-star hockey. He can pass the puck, and he's mean, and he'll lay that wood on you if he thinks he has to.
Back to the line, Ruotsalainen over to Nielsen. Back to Ruotsalainen, into the corner. Tikkanen to Gretzky, back to the point. Ruotsalainen with a shot, deflected, but Joan got a piece of it. Wilson along the boards, plays it out with 11 seconds remaining in the penalty. 15:07, the time left in the period, as the Oilers fired it in, and it went over the glass and out of play.
Well, I don't think the players knew where that puck went. Certainly Berthiaume didn't know, and he was looking around hoping it wasn't sitting in a dangerous spot. And Paul McLean, who's cut out a lot of the foolish retaliation penalties he used to get, of course, works so well with Howard Chuck. I don't know whether they've ever played very long apart. If they have, I can't believe that they were nearly as effective apart as they are together.
And of course, Paul McLean, out of the lineup for about 3 weeks, came back late in the year, and he said one of the reasons for his improved play in the playoffs was that he had that rest before going into postseason activity.
Well, Paul's not a great skater, and he has to work hard to get where he wants to go, and they play him a lot. He might have a point there.
There's some skaters who would find it hard to believe, but he only sharpens his skates about 4 times a year. Maybe that has something to do with the trouble he has.
Well, you know, Gordie Howe used to sharpen his skates once a month. But if you watch Gordie play, he never stopped. He always was on the turn. I don't know whether McLean learned that from Howe. He doesn't remind me of Howe. Nothing against him.
Ruotsalainen drops it for McTavish. He tried to get around Kite, and the big Winnipeg defenseman stopped him. Tried to clear it, kept in by the Oilers. A shot right on, and Berthiaume had a little difficulty with that before steering it off to the corner. Lead pass. McLean was looking for Howardchuk on a breakaway, intercepted. Here comes McTavish. He dodges the check. The puck goes loose along the boards, and it's dumped out by Paul McLean. 14:24, the time remaining in the opening period. 1-0, the Winnipeg Jets leading on a goal by Laurie Boschman, set up by Ray Neufeld. Craig McTavish flips it in. Big bounce off the end boards. Tim Waters has it for Winnipeg. He tried to play it out, put it over the glass, and out of play. 14:08 is the time remaining in the first period. Winnipeg ahead on the goal by Boschman.
Just when it seemed gray was the only color,
Just when it seemed now,
and rainbows were the thing you were trying for, then along came Tracer.
Mercury Tracer, the import that Ford built. Now it's your Mercury dealer.
Hey, Tracer.
Mo LeMay comes out with Mike Krushelnyski and Marty McSorley. And many felt that the Oilers, Harry, would try and use all four lines in this series.
I think they might, although I will say this, in my opinion, if it gets into a four-line from each team's viewpoint, Winnipeg's third and fourth group is a little more dangerous and a little better than Edmonton.
Laurie Boschman, as he did against Calgary, will take almost all those face-offs in his own zone. He had something like an 80% ratio. Here's a chance for the Oilers up front to Lowe, and a save. Berthiaume was down and made the stop on Kevin Lowe. It comes driving in from the blue line. Brad Berry shoots it in. Left there for Lowe. He plays it over to the other corner. Craig Muni takes a hit. Lowe forced to handle it again in his own zone as the Jets are forechecking the Oilers deep in their own zone. Loose puck in the center ice area. Krushelnyski for Muni. Over on the right side. McSorley takes a bump. It comes back to the line. Muni couldn't control it, and it's dumped out by Winnipeg.
One thing you have to watch against Edmonton are their point men sneaking off the blue line into the slot like Lowe did. They all do it well, and of course the two that scare the life right out of you are Ruotsalainen and Coffey when they do it.
McSorley deflected it into the Winnipeg zone. Going back after it is Randy Carlyle. Carlyle is checked by Glenn Anderson. Waters plays it around the boards for Carlyle. Carlyle's pass picked off by Coffey. Coffey drops it off for Anderson, a shot. That went wide. Picked up behind the net by Frederick Olofsson. And the Oilers are doing some forechecking themselves.
Well, these two teams, if you measured the speed of their forwards, I think you'd find that you're seeing the two teams with the fastest group of forwards in the league.
Stolen by Nielsen. Nielsen trying to set up, lets the shot go off the glass. Big rebound picked up there by Carlyle, and Carlyle dumps it out. Paul Coffey, who missed all but the opening game of that Los Angeles series, anxious to play in this series against Winnipeg. Played up around the boards for Tikkanen. He can't get out. The Jets keeping it in. Thomas Steen dumps it into the corner. Gretzky has it there. He drops it around the boards for Charlie Huddy. To Yari Curry. His pass goes off a skate, and the Oilers are forced back into their own zone. Gretzky tries it again. He's matched up against Dale Hawerchuk. There were many who speculated that the two top centers for their respective clubs would be going head-to-head. Curry gets it back to the line for Gregg. Gregg shoots it into the corner. Hawerchuk and Gretzky are there battling along the boards for it. It goes loose with Jim Kite gaining control. Playing it around for Marois. His pass intercepted. Curry with a shot. Saved by Berthiaume. And Berthiaume covers up as Marois bumps with Tikkanen. A whistle with 11:30 left in the period. Against the Oilers in regular season play. A loose puck that Berthiaume pokes to the boards. Picked up by Curry. Curry looking in front for Gretzky. It comes back to the line. Over to the other side to Ruotsalainen. His shot right on. Berthiaume thought there was an Oiler there, was going to cover up, then decided to play it. Boschman has it along the boards, tried to get it out, put it into the crowd, out of play with 11:09 left in the period.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Dan Maloney has got his troops going to play Gretzky and setting up behind the net. We always thought that if you got him out of there, if to the backhand if you can right away, then everybody knew where he was. If you let him choose which side to come out, who knew where he was going?
John Ferguson had some complimentary things to say to you today about the play of Ray Neufeld in the Calgary series.
He sure did, and I think that there's no doubt about it that Neufeld will play with a little burr under his saddle. His quality of play will go up quite quickly, and you don't like playing against him. But unfortunately, some nights he doesn't. That's not in his playbook. Here's a guy. Now, I've done a fair number of Edmonton games this year, and I think that this fellow right here, McTavish, is the first or most underrated player and second or most consistent player. I never saw him play a bad game, and quite often he was among the 3 or 4 best Oilers.
Face off to the left of Berthiaume. The shots on goal reading 6-2 so far in favor of the Oilers, but the Jets lead at 1-0. The goal by Laurie Boschman from Neufeld at 1:20. From the face-off, Jim Kite plays it around on the boards, but Kevin Lowe pinches in to keep it in there for the Oilers. Good hit on Boschman as the puck comes loose. Craig McTavish has it. The Oilers very aggressive in the early going. The shot just goes wide. A battle for it. It's on the mesh back of the Winnipeg net.
Well, that's the kind of play that if McClellan will play that way, he can be an asset. If you ask any defenseman in the National League, they want to know where this guy is at all times because he can deliver some resounding body checks.
Number 4 choice by Hartford in 1980. Went to Pittsburgh in 81 and then to the Edmonton Oilers in 1983. 6'2", 200 pounds. He's got the size.
And he likes to run into you. And that's a bad combination if you're a puck carrier.
It's dangerous if you're trying to move out.
I wonder if the layoff, Edmonton's been off for 7 days, will cause them some problems early in this first game.
Well, you were speculating earlier today that it might cause the Red Wings some problem in their series with Toronto, and it appears to have caused them some difficulty.
Well, 9 days at this time of the year is way too much, except if you're half hurt, you're kind of trying to make a comeback.
McTavish, working against Thomas Steen, manages to dump it in, but an Edmonton player was offside. Hockey Night in Canada returns in a moment. Oh, but most of the play through the first 9 minutes and 25 seconds, Harry, has been in Winnipeg's end.
Well, there's no question about that, although Berthiaume has only had to make one big stop, and Fuhr hasn't been able to make any, including the one that beat him.
Frederick Olofsson playing a right wing position. He can also be switched back to the blue line. That's actually where he started his NHL career. Trying to dig it out in the corner. He has it looking out front. Then he's tied up by Craig Muni. Doug Smale gets it. Smale leaves it for Thomas Steen. Steen out front for Smale. Saved by Grant Fuhr. The first big task for the Edmonton netminder. McTavish in across the line. He dumps it off to the corner, and Charlie Huddy races in from the point to keep it in. Knocked down in front by Randy Carlyle, and Winnipeg gets it to the line and out. It was brought back in offside by Paul Coffey. Now a skirmish along the boards in that Winnipeg zone.
I don't know who the main eventers are. It doesn't look like anybody's really upset with anyone else. It seems to be a team skirmish, so to speak. But leading into this series, there was absolutely no sign of hatred or bitterness or anything that usually accompanies the second round of the playoffs, especially in the teams in the same division that have played each other as often as these have. Thomas Steen, Tom Watt, here's Thomas Steen. He does this very well. He can turn away from the man in the defensive zone, and he put that puck right on the Smale stick, and he couldn't beat Fuhr. Tom Watt told me for 3 years, and he still tells me when I talk to him, Thomas Steen is one of the more underrated hockey players in the National League. His production has fallen off, but I guess he was a real factor in the Calgary series.
He played very well against the Flames, and he's one of the more aggressive Swedes in the National Hockey League.
Absolutely, and he used to get himself more than his share of points. I always thought Winnipeg was one of those very strong teams, and they still are, down the middle, with Steen, Howard, Chuck Boschman, and Ron Wilson, one of the more underrated players in the league, and maybe the best fourth center in the National League.
Paul Coffey in his own zone, ahead to Messier. Messier drops it over on a right wing for Kent Nielsen, but Dale Howardchuk coming back, got to it first. Along the boards for Mullen. Mullen gets it ahead to McLean. McLean working one-on-one against Paul Coffey. McLean with a quick shot. That went off Coffey's leg to the corner. Kept in by Brad Berry. Battle for it at the side of the net. The Oilers come up with it, and Glenn Anderson moves it out of his own zone to Kent Nielsen. Nielsen